Oh frick, I had the map upside down.
Be around 1 click per hour. And you move this. And you can repeat lines of communication, populated areas, the monster can, to up here. For example, when I need to be in a very specific location, the extra 2 clicks to walk to a stream or something, refill and go back. Hiking or doing land navigation in a military setting is usually very different from land navigation for evasion purposes. You're still trying to get from point A to point B, but the way you get there is vastly different. You're not taking a scenic route, nor the easiest, nor the fastest route. The goal of evasion is to stay unnoticed and stay alive. For this, you need to plan your route. For this, you're going to need a compass and a map of your area. When planning the route, you should avoid lines of communication, populated areas, and points of interest. Avoid lines of communication like roads, railroads, power lines, lakes and rivers. Populated areas like villages and farms, yes, they offer you food, water and shelter, but you want to avoid people altogether because you never know who you might encounter. Avoid points of interest like high ground, large open areas, water sources, radio towers, bridges and river crossings. When planning your route, make sure you have distinguishable backstops and specific locations where you can pinpoint exactly where you are at least once a day. Backstops are large, you can't miss them, features on the terrain that you cannot accidentally miss even if you are tired and moving during the night. Examples: lakes, rivers, paved roads, railroads, or any other large recognizable features. Don't worry too much about keeping track of your exact location all the time. You're going to waste energy. Rather, pick the next big landmark you need to get to, estimate about the time that's going to take you to get there, and measure time, not distance. Practical movement in this scenario would be around 1 click per hour. Have a compass ready at hand, attached to yourself securely to keep track of your bearing once in a while. When you're navigating using azimuth, you want to pick something in the far distance, as far as you can see, that's in line with your bearing. You walk up to it so you don't have to check your compass at all times, and when you reach it, you pick the next one and you repeat. A really useful tool for navigation are ranger beads, but for that you need to know your step count for 100 meters. To get the step count, you need to find a location where you know the exact distance. For example, let's say a track, you picked a 100-meter stretch, or on a highway there's these posts, let's say they're 50 meters between each. So you walk in your normal cadence the distance of 100 meters and you count how many step pairs you get. Mine is 64 in this terrain. The way you use this is meant for 5 kilometers. Each of the lower beads is 100 meters. So when you're counting, you get your step count for 100 meters. You move one. Next 100 meters, you move one until you get to 9. And then you've moved 1 click and you move this. And you can repeat and get pretty accurate measurement of distance. Where could I use something like this, like ranger beads, is when I need to be in a specific location without any special landmarks. For example, I start from here and I know that my extraction location is in what scenario could I use the ranger beads? For example, when I need to be in a very specific location at a certain time. So I know my starting location. Let's say I walked to the railroad and I found a crossing at the railroad, so I know exactly where I am. So I can use this to reach my destination pretty accurately. So from here I would take the bearing on the map to where I need to go and measure the distance, and then I would use the ranger beads to exactly count how far have I gone until I know I'm at this location on the map. And when I'm going to get extracted, I can give my exact location to the recovery force. When using a compass, keep it away from metal objects like knives and your weapon. When you're looking at the map and you want to get from the monster can to up here, you see all these linear features on the map like railroads, roads, power lines, you don't necessarily have to avoid them completely. What you can do is use a technique called handrailing. What handrailing means is you're using a linear feature on the map to keep track of your direction and where you are. So the way it works is I'm trying to move northwest, so I would first move towards the railroad until I can identify it. Then, since I don't want to walk along the railroad because there's a higher chance of people being there, being spotted, I would identify it and then move away from it and move along the railroad, and once in a while check back in until I see the railroad again, make sure I'm on track, then make distance again and keep moving like this until I reach my next spot, which is the crossing. Since here that would take me to an open field, I would rather cross the railroad here, and then I can use the same handrail technique to follow this road. I identify the road, I create some distance, I follow it, I check that I'm still on target, and I keep using these linear features to keep myself moving in the right direction. As you see, I'm trying to use dense forest for cover to reach my point, and I can use this technique the whole way to my target, and I would end up in my spot like this. As you see, you're not moving in a straight line, you're not taking the easy route, you're taking the safe route. Next thing I'm going to show you is something called intentionally missing your target. So let's say we want to get from the monster can to up here, and I don't want to walk those extra clicks to handrail. I can go straight to the railroad, cross it, and take azimuth to my location, or my next target location, which would be, let's say, this crossing here. The issue with this is if you measure or you get your bearing to this exact location and you follow it exactly, you might veer off course slightly in either direction and end up either here or here. But the problem is you can never exactly know which one it is. I've had that happen to myself where I thought I was here, but I was actually here, and I since I thought I was here, I started moving this way in my head, but I was actually moving this way and away from my target. So when you intentionally miss your target this way, then you know for sure I need to, when I reach the road, I need to walk left to get to my target. So putting all of this together, when I will start my route planning, this is what I will look for. I will look for all the danger areas, so all the linear lines of communications. I would want to avoid them if possible, but they're great ways to locate yourself on the map. Next, I would try to pick difficult terrain, so if someone were to follow me, they would have a hard time. And especially when using vehicles, let's say ATVs or trucks or cars, then rough terrain, thick bush is something that they cannot follow me faster than I can walk. Next, water sources. If this is going to take me the whole day, I would definitely need to plan in refilling my water source. This would mean that I would take the extra 2 clicks to walk to a stream or something, refill, and go back on my trail. The reason being, I can never know what the terrain ahead of me is going to give me. I might not see water the next day, so if I have some water source close to me, I would also plan that into my route. Also, do any crossing of linear features, especially roads, do them on the turns or bends. there's less visibility from either side of the or either direction on the road when you are crossing it on the corner or on a bend. And since this is not the initial movement here, I would focus more on picking a safe route and moving slowly, taking stops, listening, looking and smelling. You don't want to rush into an enemy position, so take it slow, don't waste too much energy. Land navigation using basic tools is a very basic skill in a military setting. If you don't know how to land navigate, you have no business doing anything else tactical. So take a map, take a compass, and next you can go out and practice these skills by just going to a trail, a hiking trail, get the map and compass and try and get from point A to point B without using the trails, and trying to avoid all the other people on the trail, like hikers and whoever picking mushrooms or berries there.
Oh frick, I had the map upside down. I need to go that way.
Land navigation is a basic skill, but it is an essential skill for any military operation or activity, because you always need to get to the location on time. Let us know, what do you find the most challenging about land navigation? Write it in the comments below, and if you haven't already, watch our other videos on this topic, and see you next week.